Mike Bond of MMA Junkie and USA Today here with UFC Fight Night 77's Johnny Case. Johnny, obviously, fourth UFC fight coming up. How have you felt about your career so far? You got a knockout, submission, decision win. Have you been pleased with what you've done in the UFC so far?
Yeah, very pleased. I would have loved to get my finish, my last fight. Unfortunately, I had to work through an injury and just do my best to finish the fight and come out with a victory. But yeah, going into my fourth UFC fight with 3-0, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you mentioned the injury in the last fight. What does that do for your confidence as a fighter, knowing that you can go in there, something bad can happen, and you can still come out with the victory?
I kind of learned, early in my career that I can push through adversity. It's just 15 minutes, so just go in there, do your job, and when the fight's over and you completed your task, then we can get checked out, and if any medical issues need taken care of, then we just go fix that. So, I kind of knew before previously getting signed to the UFC that I can push through adversity, but that was just another testament to what I can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And being on this card, it's just like being in the stacked lightweight division. I mean, there's so many guys. I think over 100 or so guys signed to this weight class on the roster. You're 3-0. Maybe in another division you'd be fighting on main cards, getting working towards top 15 fights. How tough is it to kind of be in this weight class and just have to take a longer road, I guess?
I'm cool with it. There's a lot of competition, and that kind of motivates me to be better. That motivates me to be one of the top guys, and if I got to take my time and take some guys on the lower side of the roster off on the way up to the top, then that's fine. But I know where my skill set is. I know I can compete with the top 10, and it's just a matter of time before the big fights come.
Yeah, and you get this fight with Cabral, who is another guy who's done well in his UFC career so far. What did you think of the matchup when you got it, and what do you just make of what he's done so far? Obviously, a lot of submission wins on his record.
Yeah, I love this matchup. I love fighting jiu-jitsu guys. It's probably my favorite style to fight. That and other strikers. I love the matchup. I think it weighs in my favor pretty heavily. He is a very dangerous opponent in the top game, but again, if I'm on my back, then I made a mistake, and I'll look to get back to my feet and finish the fight there.
Yeah, why do you enjoy fighting jiu-jitsu guys so much?
Because on the ground they'll fight, not like a typical wrestler. They'll just look to lay on you and try to eke out a round, and that's a really frustrating fight. Win or lose, you don't want to be associated with a boring fight and be laid on. So I like strikers and I like jiu-jitsu guys because they'll fight, and for me that favors my style. I'm good in scrambles, and I like to strike, and I like to make it exciting for the fans.
Yeah, and you're on a great winning streak right now, haven't lost in quite a few years. Is there something that you can point to that's like the key to the success, or is it just a product of your whole game coming together at the right time?
My baby boys, man. That's pretty much it, man. When it comes down to it, I got two little boys that I need to support and I need to care for. So, pretty much everything I do revolves around them.
Okay, and how old are they?
3 and 4.
Okay, so kind of right around the time this has all started to click for you. And did it just, can you kind of explain like what it did to your mindset, or is it obviously, you have two mouths to feed, all that kind of stuff, but how does that translate to what you do in the cage?
Pretty much just comes down to, it's not about me, it's before I was kind of selfish, I guess. Like I thought about myself, like, oh, fucking, I broke my nose. Oh, I better stop. And now it's like, man, it's not about you. You got people depending on you, depending on that income, and really just look up to you and need you to provide. So I just go out there and selflessly provide and do what I love.
Yeah, and what does a victory in this fight do for you, you think? I saw you, mention Sage Northcutt's name in another interview. Is that a fight that you're looking for sometime in the future, or are you kind of shooting beyond that? If 4-0 in the UFC is pretty tough to get to. Do you feel like you deserve, someone more established and someone more reputable?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Sage has got some catching up to do. But if that fight happens, I would gladly welcome that fight. I think that's an easy payday, and I think he's got a lot of followers too, on social media, so that just ups my stake even more. But I feel this win will definitely put me somewhere into the top 10, and will bring on a more game opponent.
Yeah, is that something that you could see an upside like a fight with Sage? I mean, there's guys that are in top 20 that people don't really know at all, and then there's this guy who's 19, has had one fight in the UFC, and he's blowing up. Everyone's talking about him.
I can't really hate on the kid. I mean, he seems like a nice kid. He seems pretty humble, and I think he kind of knows that he's kind of being hyped up as well. But at the same time, you can't. It's kind of hard to sit back and see that one guy get promoted so much for not for the skill set or the fighter that he is, but more or less for the looks and the flash that he has. But at the same time, I can't really hate on him. The kid's got it going on. So whatever happens to him, and I'll worry about me.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to your fighting a little bit, you have one of the highest finishing rates of anyone in this weight class. What about your style is just lends so much to being able to put guys away inside the distance?
It started back from my wrestling career. I wasn't the kind of guy that would go out there and do enough just to squeak by on a win. Obviously sometimes you get injured, you kind of have to do what you got to do. But I'm the kind of guy that looks to finish the fight. I want to be exciting, and I want to get paid, and I want fans to know that every time I step in that octagon, that I'm going to bring it and I'm going to put on a show for them.
So is that what you're expecting on Saturday night? How do you see this fight playing out, and what's kind of your perfect performance and perfect victory?
Perfect performance. I go in there, he falls down, hits his head, and I get my hand raised.